What up, Rafa leaders? Welcome back to my channel. Today, let's talk about Venezuela. Let's talk about the crisis in Venezuela from the Guyanese point of view. Now, the crisis in Venezuela has been developing for the past 5 years, and Guyana has a complex relationship with Venezuela because of the territorial dispute between Guyana and Venezuela. And so this crisis, where Guyana should probably be the closest neighbor offering assistance, has taken on a complex character and flavor. We want to examine that today. So stay tuned.
Oh, this is my day. I'm ready to take it on, come what may.
So first, let me make this disclaimer. Guyana and Venezuela have had a very long relationship where our citizens have gone back and forth for decades. Guyana was where Venezuela is today back in the 1960s and the 1970s and 1980s when we had our political crises. Right? So during the Burnham era, a lot of Guyanese had moved from Guyana to Venezuela and settled there. Some say about 100,000 Guyanese live in Venezuela who migrated from Guyana during the crises that were economic and political during those years. So the disclaimer is that I have no problem with Venezuelans. I am very happy to assist and to help and to welcome Venezuelans coming to Guyana as refugees from the crisis in Venezuela. However, let's talk about the development of this crisis in Venezuela. It has been a rolling crisis for 5 years. And I remember when I came back to Guyana back in 2013, the crisis had just begun to develop. And so by 2015, Venezuelans were coming to Guyana to buy dollars. So they would come here with their ATM cards, they would go to Scotiabank or Republic Bank and withdraw Guyana dollars, which they would then convert to US dollars to take back to Venezuela to sell. So they were basically trading dollars. And then eventually the banks caught on and the banks decided to they decided not to allow Venezuelan cards to be used in Guyana. And so those people eventually stopped coming. Then what happened later on in 2016, we started to see hungry people, that is, children and their parent mothers usually in the supermarket. So these are Venezuelans who were escaping the hunger and the crisis in Venezuela by simply walking away from Venezuela without money, without cash. And so I would see them in supermarkets, right? I would see them with children, children asking to buy food, but knowing the parents don't really have the money to buy food, and seeing the struggle, right? So I saw the struggle on the faces of these kids. They looked stressed, they looked hungry, they looked tired. That was 2016, 2017. In 2017, later on in 2017, large groups of Venezuelans started to cross the border into Guyana. Thousands of them, right? So like 2,000, 3,000 Venezuelans setting up camp on the border, and some of them, in fact, even making it into the city, to Georgetown. That was 2017, 2018. 2018, 2019, the government decided to make an official effort to assist Venezuelan groups of Venezuelans who had organized themselves into communities are now being provided with housing and shelter. So that is how the crisis has developed over the years, and this is where Guyana is at in 2019. So guys, here are the 3 issues that are currently facing Guyana. One is that we don't know exactly how many Venezuelans are in Guyana. We have an official count estimate of about 2,800, but some say it could be as high as 50,000. Right? So I think it could be much, much higher than 2,800 Venezuelans. 2 is we have a political crisis in Guyana right now with our constitution, with our no confidence motion, and some people think that this Venezuelan crisis is being provoked or made worse or taking advantage of our Guyanese political situation, because the Venezuelan government sent its military vessels into Guyanese waters to disrupt the exploration for oil for ExxonMobil that ExxonMobil was conducting, and that is being done because of Guyana's political situation. And 3 is the fact that because of the political dispute, because of the territorial dispute between Guyana and Venezuela, Venezuelan refugees coming into Guyana in large numbers may be seen as a Trojan horse. These could be clandestine people coming into Venezuela, eventually using the crisis for Venezuela to lay claim to Essequibo. If those people settle, say, in Essequibo in large numbers, then eventually it sort of gives Venezuela a foothold in Guyana to lay claim to Guyanese territory. So those are the three issues. But here's the question for you. Guyana has refugees and immigrants from several countries right now. So there are Cubans in Guyana, there are Brazilians in Guyana, there are Haitians in Guyana, and there are Venezuelans in Guyana, all of them in Guyana for various reasons because of various economic and socio-political realities in their countries. And there are some in the opposition political party who are using racism as a basis to claim that Haitian refugees in Guyana are being used to undermine the vote, to rig the vote. This is, of course, false, but the question is, should Guyana take a stance against our neighbors who are in crisis, whether they be from Cuba or Brazil or Venezuela? My answer is no. I think we ought to give our humanitarian assistance to all, because that comes first. We ought to treat all human beings with respect, and we ought to provide them with care whenever they come into our territory and whenever they need our assistance. That is my position. But what do you think? Tell me in the comments below, whether you think we should have a policy against Venezuela or whether we should welcome our Venezuelan brothers and sisters who are in crisis. Remember, you can support this channel on Patreon and on PayPal. Now you can buy merchandise from the stores online and support this channel that way as you collect our souvenirs. I will be creating more and more souvenirs as time goes by. So tell me what you think about the Venezuelan crisis. Tell me whether you think the government should do more to assist Venezuelans, and whether Guyanese should be much more compassionate towards our Venezuelan neighbors. Later!